The Rams do whatever it takes to keep Aaron Donald from flipping out next year. We also look at the NFL draft from the Chargers, USC, and UCLA's perspective, and LeBron James unleashes a tweet storm that would make Donald Trump blush. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is April 30th, 2023. It is Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. Take a moment. Thank God for the blessings that you have in your life. We added a couple of new subscribers last night. That too is a blessing. So if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. There's always good stuff to talk about here. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Edmonton 5, Kings 4. The Oilers advanced to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in 6 games. Look, the Kings simply never had an answer for Leon Draisaitl, who had a point in each of the 6 games at least, sometimes obviously more. Kevin Fiala for the Kings last night had a goal and 2 assists. Before the season, NHL pundits were saying, well, you know, the Kings, they exceeded expectations. They're going to take a step back. If you want to be technical about it, they did take a step back because they went 7 games against the Oilers last year, 6 games this. Yeah, step back, but that step's about this big. So we'll talk more about the Kings and their immediate future in the coming days. St. Louis lost to the Dodgers again, 1-0. Clayton Kershaw moves to 5-1 with 9 strikeouts and 7 impressive shutout innings. Austin Barnes drove in the only run of the game. Orlando City 2, Galaxy 0. There is a rapid recap of the match on the Galaxy playlist. And are you like me if you're a Galaxy supporter? Are you starting to compile a mental list of Galaxy players who simply don't want to play? Douglas Costa, Efrain Alvarez, they're on my list so far. Meanwhile, today, St. Louis is still at the Ravine. They'll play the Dodgers at 1. Noah Syndergaard is 0-3 with a 6.58 ERA. Jake Woodford, he's 1-2, 5.47 ERA. This might be Noah Syndergaard's last start for a while. We'll get to that. Stick with us for a few minutes. I don't believe there was any way to possibly replenish the Rams defense. Not after the roster lost 16 players since the end of the season, no matter how many draft picks they had. And I'm guessing that's the way the Rams felt because they had 14 picks and they went 7 on defense, 6 for offense, and a punter. Now, I don't like to give grades on drafts. We were talking about this yesterday. I'm no draft expert. It's clearly an inexact science. Everybody likes to give the hot take. We don't know yet. We just have to ask ourselves, do these picks make sense? Instead of giving grades and pass or fail and win and loss. What I can tell you is that the Rams damn sure went for bulk. They went for grit, especially when they went for the defense, went for line picks, whether it's offense or defense. They definitely tried to help out Aaron Donald. They also had to fill as many potholes as possible. Remember, they lost 16 regulars from last year. So what qualifies, for example, as a pothole that needed to be filled? Backup quarterback did. Recall the trade on day 2 of the draft. They moved back in the 3rd round. The purpose was to get an additional 4th round pick, which they did. They used that pick for Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett. The pundits hated the pick. Oh, there's so many holes to fill. Yeah, backup quarterback is one. Backup quarterback is one. And I think it would be foolish to use the phrase quarterback of the future on Stetson Bennett, despite the fact that the guy won titles with the Bulldogs. Having said that, I'm okay with him being a backup. What I don't like for a quote-unquote quarterback of the future, criminal records. That's not a good look. You just don't want that. Bennett was arrested in Dallas this year. I don't like my quote-unquote field general in the drunk tank. So yeah, I'm not saying he's the quarterback of the future, but I do like him way more than John Wolford or Bryce Perkins. Let's be real with ourselves. He may even turn out to be a better quarterback overall than Baker Mayfield. He is accurate, I can tell you that. They had 4 picks in the 5th round, 3 in the 6th, 3 more in the 7th. That is 10 picks. I am not going to be giving you a review on all 10. We would be here all day. But I do believe that some of the picks can make a difference this season. Recall, special teams alone. They let the punter go. They let the kicker go. They let the return man go. They let the long snapper walk. They needed to do at least something on special teams. So replacing one in the draft is an okay idea. Ethan Evans is from a smaller school, but he is credited for having the strongest leg of those small school punters. They'll have to coach him how to be accurate in aiming for the corner, though. So yeah, punting. Not a bad idea for a 7th round pick. I like the outside linebacker Nick Hampton. He was taken in the 5th round from Appalachian State. I think he is going to get snaps. So will the 6th round selection, O'Shawn Mathis. I don't think Mathis is a starter from what I've read. And I'm going to be lying to you if I say I know these guys front to back. I clearly do not. And I tell you something else. A lot of these draft experts are blowing smoke up your butt if they claim that they know all these hundreds and hundreds of people. They're fooling yourselves. They're fooling themselves. But Mathis, although not being a starter, I imagine he would spell 2nd round draft pick Byron Young, who we spoke about yesterday. If I were to guess, all 3 of those picks, they're outside rushers. They're designed to keep Aaron Donald sane because they are asking a lot of him for next year. They got to give him at least some semblance of help. Maybe the Rams even got themselves a nickelback late in the draft with Travius Hodges-Tomlinson of TCU. So yes, good stuff. Great? Good? Filling potholes? Sure. 5th round draft choice, running back Zach Evans. Yeah, fill another pothole. He seems like an ideal fit in Sean McVay's offense. He is what Cam Akers isn't. He's decisive. He's physical. On offense, 4th round tackle, Warren McClendon of Georgia, compared to the Chargers' Jamari Salyer, who saved the Chargers last year. This is not a perfect draft. I'm not claiming it is. If I were in the Rams war room, I would be getting nauseated every time the Rams drafted offense. Look, you look at what the Rams lost on defense. Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, Troy Hill, Leonard Floyd, 2 defensive tackles, Taylor Rapp. The offensive line was terrible last year. I will grant you that. But that was due to injuries. If they get healthy again, you would think, okay, maybe there is something there. That's why I didn't see offensive line as the biggest need. And besides, Sean McVay does not play rookie offensive linemen. That's been his MO. But they took 2 offensive linemen in the draft. They also took a wide receiver and a tight end. I think long-term, the Rams improved their offensive line. Steve Avila, they took him on day 2, whether the man plays guard or center. If McVay breaks with his own personal tradition and plays Avila as a rookie, I will like this draft a lot more. I think the defensive front was addressed. I would even wager that Evans is going to give Cam Akers a push. So yeah, mixed bag. But I also want to say, I want to close talking about the Rams by mentioning something about next year's draft. Some viewers believe the Rams are going to tank so that they can make a run at USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is probably going to be the number 1 overall pick next year. The only way you get that is either by trading up or being absolutely the worst team in the NFL. If you have the worst team in the NFL, franchises clean house. They get rid of GMs. They get rid of scouting directors. They get rid of coaches. So if the Rams are the worst team in football this upcoming year, Les Snead is out of a job and Sean McVay might leave. So no, Caleb Williams is not on the Rams' radar. I do not believe this is a tank job. Meanwhile, going into the draft for the Chargers, I was talking up how the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, loves double tight end sets and that it would be a good idea to address that position in the draft. They didn't. Not with any one of their 7 picks. You know what also fell between the cracks? If you look back, running back fell between the cracks. They didn't take one. And they have a back who wants to be traded in Austin Eckler. Now, this is not to crap on the Bolts and tell you that they had a lousy draft. I was okay with what they did on days 1 and 2. Absolutely. I love the addition of Tuli Tuipulotu of USC. I do. You can't rely on Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa to be healthy for the entire year. They couldn't last year. Tuipulotu is a great idea. But I did not see the same logic on day 3. I didn't. Wide receiver Darius Davis in round 4, another speed guy? Why? Why? And by the way, he's shorter than I am. He's 5'8". Maybe this guy is so fast that he returns kicks, but that means, where's the logic? You just spent a 4th round pick on a kick returner when you needed a tight end, when you needed a running back. I will say I do think Scott Madlock, a lineman from Boise State, he fits Brandon Staley's defense. And I think that's an okay idea in the 6th round. I think 5th rounder Jordan McFadden is a depth piece on the offensive line. That's fine. And then they took a flyer on a quarterback, TCU's Max Duggan in the 7th. But what am I supposed to tell you? I believe that this draft was supposed to be about giving Moore and Justin Herbert the tools to succeed, to give Eckler, or whoever the running back is going to be, the necessary blocking from a quality tight end. Again, I don't give grades. I liked what they did at days 1 and 2. I did not like what the Chargers did in day 3. Meanwhile, for USC and UCLA, both schools had 4 players selected, which was a little tiny bit of a surprise. I expected USC to have maybe 1 or 2 players more picked, but in terms of surprises, whatevs. Not a big thing. 3 of the 4 local college players who were selected yesterday in the NFL draft were offensive linemen. And they were decent offensive linemen, I must say. I like the fact that John Gaines, the second of the Bruins, went to Arizona in round 4. Remember, Gaines played literally every offensive line position for UCLA. That's useful for a team like the Cardinals. Their offensive line is garbage, especially with Kyler Murray running all over the place. Antonio Mafi to the Patriots in round 5. All right. USC's workout warrior, Andrew Voorhees, was taken by Baltimore in the 7th round. Remember, the poor guy blew out his knee. If there is such a thing as a redshirt year in the NFL, this would be it. Now, of course, it wasn't all linemen. UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson was taken by Cleveland in round 5, and I really like that idea by the Browns. Absolutely. I think he fits. How many quarterbacks are going to wind up in as good of a situation as Thompson-Robinson is? He's not expected to save the franchise. He's going to sit behind Deshaun Watson. And if Watson cannot get over his creepy fetishes, then Thompson-Robinson moves up. Now, finally, with the local colleges, I did not spend a lot of time looking up who signed as an undrafted free agent. I can tell you that Travis Dye signed with the Jets out of USC. Finally, with USC football, defensive lineman Earl Barquette Jr., he re-entered the transfer portal. Now, for all the offensive talent that USC added going into last season, Barquette was the first player to transfer to USC after Lincoln Riley took over. He came from TCU, but he made next to no impact. The man only played in 5 games, just 36 snaps. And of course, USC went nuts in the transfer portal this year to boost the D-line. So yeah, I mean, no offense, guy. I understand. Go to another school. Enjoy yourself. I am by no means privy to what goes on in an NBA locker room. Even when I covered the NBA briefly, covering the Lakers and the Clippers for the San Bernardino Sun back in the day, you don't get to just hang out in the locker room for kicks. But if I were to guess, LeBron James told the Lakers after game 2 to keep their mouths shut about poking the bear, right? And they listened. But now that the series with Memphis is over, James took it upon himself to crap all over the Grizzlies, to crap all over Dillon Brooks. He did everything other than giving a 1-star review to the Lorraine Hotel. About the whole poke the bear thing, James said that if you see him in a fight with a bear, you better help the bear. Hint, hint. He gave G-rated Jay-Z lyrics about what he thought of the Memphis Grizzlies. Meanwhile, over in Memphis, Dillon Brooks deleted a ton of comments on his Instagram and his social media followings. So that would be a tacit admission from Brooks that he done got his booty paddled until it was a bright pink. That was a spanking. Meanwhile, although John Morant didn't specifically cite the quotes in the press from him, from Brooks, from other players, he agreed that the team could have behaved differently, that, quote, off-the-court issues affected us as an organization, unquote, and the Grizzlies, quote, need more discipline. It's Sunday. I really don't want to say no shh, but yeah, no shh. Lakers GM Rob Pelinka said there was a myriad of reasons the Lakers went nuts at the trade deadline, but it wasn't just for sheer balance. It wasn't just for more height. You could say it was for better shooting, but not just for the players that came in. Pelinka said a big reason that they rebuilt the team on the fly was to get Austin Reeves more touches. Quote, the trade deadline isn't always what you bring in. It opened up a lane for him to really get on ball a little bit more and kind of show some of the skills that might have been dormant when there were other players playing, unquote. Also, as a side note, Reeves let his thoughts about getting the bag out of the bag. Quote, I think about it quite a bit, honestly. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Just because I played basketball for so long and in college there wasn't an NIL deal. So I was basically playing for free. You get your school paid for, but I wasn't that interested in school, unquote. In other words, Reeves admits getting that next giant paycheck is weighing on his mind. The Dodgers will call up yet another mega prospect in starting pitcher Gavin Stone, a source told MLB.com. Stone will allegedly get the start on Wednesday. Stone was listed as the Dodgers' 4th best prospect, according to The Athletic. He said to have multiple pitches. He has a split changeup that really impresses scouts. But then the question becomes, who is he replacing in the starting rotation? Count it out with me. They're not going to take Clayton Kershaw out. They're not taking Julio Urias out. Dustin May is 3-1, and he allows less than a base runner an inning. Tony Gonsolin, he's a former All-Star. He was an All-Star last year. So who does that leave? Noah Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard might be pitching his last start for the Dodgers for a while today. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Definitely about the NFL draft from the Rams, Chargers, USC, UCLA perspective. Let me know what you think about the Lakers and Dodgers. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thanks for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.